Hello, 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 hello.
Ooh,
Hello, hello, hello.
there she go again. World boyfriend.
Hello,
Ooh, what they talking
hello,
about?
hello,
Ooh,
hello. Welcome to Brittany Buck.
So
she been doing
glow.
too
Angel
much.
so glow.
Ooh, who that? Ooh,
Hello,
but she up to no good. Big back Kyla there again.
hello.
Ooh.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Brittany from Brittany Buck Creations. Welcome to Brittany's Nuggets to Go. So our overall arching energy today is the Cobra. The Cobra is symbolic of the teacher, the master, the sensei. Okay? Then in the next energy, we have Marie Laveau. This to me, I see 7. I see intuition, occultic studies, getting to the deeper level of things, spiritual side of things, alchemizing that wisdom into creating abundance for yourself. And the overall accompanying energy is Mama DeJambo, 32. Number 5 represents just that go-go energy, communication, movement, freedom, expansion. And then you see the goats here, Capricorn and all of that, basically symbolizing the all the work that comes with being shine, being I would say being like a beacon of light, allowing your wisdom to be seen and known and heard. So basically, it's almost for me. Let me give you the example when it comes to like the Cobra and all of that, the Cobra energy. It's like becoming the sensei or the teacher, and it's crazy though because people be trying to label me as, oh, you're a leader and you're a teacher or whatever. I don't be wanting to teach. I don't be wanting to be bothered with nobody, honestly. But unfortunately, it seems to be this is what comes with the territory. Hold on, y'all. Let me get my light turned back on. So, I want to come on. Stay on. Turn on. Turn on. But it kind of comes with the territory, though. It's like I'm not trying to be out. I'm good. I'm just over in my own zone, minding my business, being me. But sometimes it's like when you were just in when you get used to your own company, you get used to just doing things that you love to do, and people, like a lot of times, I guess in this world we live in, it's like not a popular thing for you to not go along with the crowd. But when you are comfortable with doing whatever you feel like doing and going against the grain, whether people like it or not, you're not going along with what everybody else doing, and you just really, operating in your nature and so forth, it becomes intriguing to people. And people want to know, how do you do this? Or how are you managing this? How are you managing your everyday life and still operating like a wild woman or whatever? And I'm saying wild woman is, when you feel like screaming, you holler, whatever. You feel like dancing, you dance. You feel like making something beautiful, whatever, you make something beautiful. You make it happen. Or you're in situations and, people can't figure out how did you make it through. I can't get past this level. I can't figure out it. It's those different things that you learn in your life, though, how to become resourceful because of those certain circumstances and situations that put you there. And, you don't know that you operating operating in your, and doing something spectacular, wonderful, or whatever. You're just like, oh, this is life. You just take it as a grain of salt because when you used to doing this stuff or whatever on your own, and you figured out basically how to go get what you want because wasn't nobody going to give it to you. Then it's like it's nothing to you. You think everybody know how to do that, but it's surprising people don't. And so you in a way become this new. How can we evaluate this one? Where did she get the knowledge? You become an unknowing teacher. You unknowingly become the teacher in the situation, not on purpose, but because you're just being put in the situation. People see you as that. But it's again the experience though, and living life will do it. Okay, going through a lot of bullshit will do it. Okay, and then getting tired and going around in circles over and over again, and getting tired, and you learn the lesson after a while. Okay, it almost becomes like to a point where I guess where there's a teacher needed or something, student shows up or something. I guess that's what the situation is or something. Your information and your knowledge is needed. And so at the base of the whole thing, it comes down to self-mastery in a way. And so in these situations you go through, for example, I know at one point in my life though, I had, I had 2 kids and so forth. And at that time I just lost my job and so forth. And so I had to figure out how I was going to feed my kids. I couldn't go and get no type of assistance or nothing at that time. Plus, my mindset was so different. I did not want to go and get any assistance. You know what I did? I became resourceful. I knew my babies needed something to eat. So guess what? I went to go donate some blood and earn some money. I overcame my fear of some needles and went ahead and did what I had to do for my babies, because who was going to do it? Who was going to take care of them? I became resourceful, found other ways to make money. And also, I also discovered in between times, when I was going through hard times and lack of funding, I basically started using my craft. Started figuring out how can I alchemize my craft. I went to school for certain things, and let me see how I can use that, what I knew, what I learned, for art and all of that, to actually express myself. Sometimes when you're an artist, when you're supposed to be on your calling, doing what you're supposed to be doing. And using your creativity on your calling, no matter what you do in your life, nothing will ever feel right. You'll never be happy, no matter how many distractions come along, because you're not within your purpose, you're not operating your purpose. And until you begin to alchemize those different lessons, again, it comes to this card here. Becoming, I guess it says synergy, Chimera 32. You take the chaos in your life, all these different unresolved situations, you are having a tough spot, things are due, it's on a more practical level. Or you're in a relationship, and the relationship is not getting you where you need to go. And it's actually becoming a distraction away from your purpose and your goals. It will bring these different elements out in you, this vibration out in you in a way where you can, when you're dealing with it, you can look at this twofold. So in the experiences though that you need to alchemize, you can view somebody as a snake. You can view somebody as a stubborn goat, whatever. And then you can view somebody as vicious and whatever. But on the flip side, how can you alchemize those different characteristics in yourself? What are the positive aspects of a snake? A snake also is very sensitive and can notice the vibration, intuition, and they can also become the medicine. How can you use that experience, though, to become more cold-blooded in your purpose? Being very cold when it comes to following your calling. How to detach, lessons in detachment. When the goat comes, how can you be stubborn and stand in your ground when it comes to the things that you want? Let me go back to the example of when I had to figure out, I was in between jobs and the money that I was getting wasn't enough money to take care of my babies, to feed them. We was out of food. So I became very stubborn and very grounded, and I became determined. It lit a fire under my ass. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I provide for my babies no matter what. You begin to alchemize those experiences. This also speaks to when all else begins falling apart. You see, there's nothing but rubble behind the Chimera. Ain't nothing but rubble. You begin to remove people who are operating in the South Node version of these vibration here of these creatures, these animals. You remove them as distractions. You remove the chaos out of your life. And then you take those different elements of chaos that was meant to break you. Use them for medicine. Use that venom to cure yourself. And to know, and then you also will learn how to use your venom in a way where you eliminate anything that will be a danger to your path, to your calling, to you being your most truest self in love. You do this in a compassionate nature, in love, but with a level of detachment, cold-bloodedness, by being fiercely focused on what you're supposed to be, extracting and removing yourself, going cold when somebody is posing themselves as a danger, or threat, or obstacle in your way. Next step is here. You have the goat, becoming disciplined in what you do. That you know you got to take care of certain things. You know you got to live your daily life. You keep those routines in place so that way you can also create a level of freedom for yourself. And when you get here, your passion and your heart, your determination is going to help you to get through those hard times and to also fortify everything that you are building, fortifying these within the whole. You got the snake at the nucleus, the intuition. Then you got the Capricorn, which is the work that is keeping the cell alive. And then you got the protection, which is the outer layer, boundaries. And heart, fierceness. And allowing these different things, these aspects of yourself to work hand in hand. And when we're focusing on the level of self, and you're basically unifying all of these aspects of yourself, this chaos within yourself. The chaos, though, basically is a reflection on chaos in the outside is a reflection of the chaos that's within you. And so you alchemize the chaos within you and build from the rubble. Start building yourself. Start seeing the resourcefulness in yourself, seeing the beauty and the ugliness of all those different things. Then you have a perception change. Where now, because you understand these different reasons, the trauma behind these negative response, or these shadow versions of these here animals, now you know how to take that power that was used for negative and use it in a more positive, more thoughtful, disciplined way to get what you need. You began to alchemize the shadow and the light within yourself, the masculine and the feminine. These dualities become one in your nature. You know when to use it for good, when you use it for bad, and when you're dealing with those that are in the darkness, you know how to go to strike like a snake in the darkness. This is your overall learning. This is your level of accomplishment. Your mastery in those different areas will allow you to be able to boom. You become a teacher in that area. And then once you begin to alchemize both of these aspects, all three of these aspects, create balance within yourself. Therefore, what you create is a level of strength that cannot be tampered with in any way, form, or fashion. You cannot be shaken from this strength. We have what you call it, I guess this would be, I'm not sure which energy this would read as. But this is reading across as strength here. That you become very grounded in who you are and what you know you can do because of the storms, and have you been able to alchemize your past situations into something golden, focused. Your agony, your chaos turns into strength, turns into focus and balance. Now, when we take this to the next level, we get ALC, disconnection. This is that energy of exercising the snake here, becoming cold-blooded, disconnecting from all that distracts you from your calling. People, situations, places, and things that cause you to begin to operate in your south node that keeps you stuck. You begin to eclipse those different things out of your life. You eclipse those things out of your life again through hard work, discipline, self-reflection. Again, going back with the snake, when you start seeing the pattern, you start understanding the pattern. Now you then make a different decision in your higher mindset through your sight, through putting in the work. First without works is dead. You start putting in that work, becoming stubborn and determined. No matter hell or high water, that you are going to accomplish your goal. And that you'll be willing to extinguish any and everything that comes in the way of it. As you become self-disciplined with yourself, self-disciplined with your own mindset, then you're going to be moving toward a direction where you're going to be attracting those who are on that same level, getting into relationships that reflect those values. It goes back to the base version of this. You're going to be attracting that masculine version of yourself that mirrors those same values, that values the same core things that you do. For the most part, everything ain't going to be the same. But overall, there should be a twin-like energy where those different energies, the masculine version, should represent what you have already alchemized in yourself, what you have already balanced in yourself. Your own balance should balance you out and bring peace. And it should be the same in your outward relationships, business, romance, friendships, family, whatever. It should be reflecting these same things. You should be attracting your tribe by being your truest self, doing the healing and the work that it takes to become balanced in yourself and to develop that inner calling, the inner quiet strength, getting down to your roots, staying rooted. And then we have the next amplification of this here. You have the strength, followed by the sacred masculine. This is basically a highlight of the masculine energy, protecting what it is that you are building and that you are bringing forth into this world. Basically becoming the protective membrane, the ship that brings forth the life. Carrying it out to fruition. Soaring like the eagle. And that requires, again, masculine characteristics. It entails leading, delegating, chiefing. But chiefing and knowing the information. I get so tired of people chiefing and stuff like that, pretending they know this and that, and don't even know a damn thing about what they talking about. Ain't never experienced none of it. Don't know what the hell they talking about. I mean, it shows up by how they act and how the result of what they have. It basically shows up what they have and who they are already. You know, don't be chiefing. If you're gonna be chiefing or whatever, actually have the qualities. Be about it. Be about it. Don't just talk about it. I hate when people do a lot of talking and all that braggadocious. Don't do none of that. Do the work. Do the work. Have the substance, not be an empty shell. And so, in the next step, we're going to talk about, we already went over relationships. You know, knowing and detecting the right types of relationships. Your network, start attracting your tribe. Basically, goes back to tribe energies. Having the right connections, all of that, whatever, you know. Next step, when you amplify this here, and now you're moving into your calling, you have Hecate, illuminations. You become illuminated and knowing which path you need to go down. Basically, this is like a cell membrane. Letting in the good and throwing out the bad. Blocking out the bad. Letting in the good, blocking in the bad. Or blocking out the bad. And then you start becoming focused and making that run choice. You're no longer at the crossroads of where to go. You make a choice. And you move forward to bring your creations into life. You start giving birth to that baby. That could be on a physical level. Giving birth to the baby. Nourishing it. Which means at the same time, when you're carrying a baby, guess what? You got to take care of yourself. You have to protect your baby. Take care of yourself. Be balanced. be healthy, and have the strength. And your body by itself, when it's healthy, will be able to carry that baby through and to bring it forth to life. So this talks about the creation of the baby, bringing it forth, turning the wheel, going through the birth canal. And while it's going through the birth canal, it's about all of that labor, you know, and having the epidural and all that, and you know, going through the woes and the labor pains, and you know, the baby actually on its way out, you know, getting dilated and so forth. And it's at 5 centimeters, 7 centimeters, and so forth. This is the pain and toil and hard work though that you put in. You gotta congratulate yourself on that. Because you're building up your kingdom. You're building your legacy. And it's going to be hard work. But it should be pleasing work. It's worth it. And it's just like when you're bringing that baby to life, or you have the baby, and you're going to be letting anybody touch your baby. There's going to be some boundaries. No, sir, you can't touch my baby. No, ma'am, you sick. You sick. It goes the same thing when you bring into any type of creation into existence. You're going to protect that with your life. With everything. You're not going to allow any negative, any bad to come in and harm your baby. You're going to start placing good. You're going to place some good, healthy aunties and, you know, family members around your baby, you know. Those good relatives, those good people around your baby. That's like when you're feeding your baby. You're going to give your baby food and all of that. All the good stuff they need. Vegetables, you know, fruits, that good milk, breast milk, if you can. Get on the best vitamins and best nutrients that they need. It's the same thing as that when you're bringing your creations, when you're taking care of yourself, it's the same thing that applies. You're going to be applying that type of thinking to what it is you're bringing forth to yourself. Think of yourself as that baby, that beautiful new creation. It's like when you are stepping into a new level of yourself, a new version of yourself. It's really not even a new version of yourself. It's really the person it's the version of yourself that was hidden behind the rubble. And you go back to this, it was the version of yourself that was hidden behind the rubble. That in order for yourself, your true self, your truest self, that childlike nature, that baby, that beauty that is you, to come forth, you have to alchemize all of these energies. The intuition, the sight, the child always knows. The stubbornness, the child always is stubborn. And the selfishness, a certain level of selfishness, and I'm determined. That's my fire. That's always the child. That was always you the entire time. But when you're raised and you're born into a narcissistic world, it's very toxic. A lot of toxicity, a lot of behaviors that are rewarded that should never be rewarded. It's so toxic. It's what they call. They say that the MK Ultra program was something that was done in the 50s and 60s and 70s or whatever. But that program has been laid out on the entire population. Why do you think they glorify all this violent behavior, all this sick and toxic behavior? Because this is how our world is run. This is how our leaders at the top is running the world. It's about keeping you in fear. Keeping you in fear so you don't exercise your power and your will to be able to create the world that you want. They want you to stay in this world of rubble. And it's a whole level of programming that you have to fight through first before you can even begin to operate in your gifts. You have to get rid of the crap. Clear out the rubble, organize the rubble of all the other bullshit that was placed on you that was never yours. When you get to that level of now, you've alchemized that, you've figured out how to operate and to see things, see them, but then now how to take what you see and move with wisdom. This is what this is. You see this older lady, she happy as hell. She riding the daggone waves. It looks like, I don't know what this is. Some type of, I don't know if this is a flower. Yeah, it looks like a flower. Newborn, like a newborn old bitch. But it's a mindset. You can teach another dog, it's a mindset, It's a mindset. Where now you're reborn. After you unlearned all this stuff in childhood, in your older age, you are reborn. You're back to that childlike energy. Where you're not affected no more because you developed this throughout the years. You're rooted, you're grounded, you see it and you laugh it off. But it's about only letting in what's going to be edifying to your baby, to your creation, to this you, this version of you, who you have always been at heart. Living it out loud. Shining. Bling bling, shine bright like a diamond. Becoming the money. Because you become the money at heart. You become the wealth, the resource at heart. You become the abundance before it shows up physically. You're rich in spirit. It attracts this here. When you take care of yourself and you feed into yourself and you follow your calling by being you, by being true and authentic to yourself, this is what comes quite naturally with it. You become the wealth. And as you have mastered these different levels of yourself, like when you're running an empire, you're putting out all these different creations. You're putting out all these different creations, creating different departments to handle this and that or whatever, setting up the structure. You have children, teaching them how to handle certain responsibilities and so forth. This is what it looks like. You begin to delegate. What you have created, now you begin to delegate. You begin to use the relationships in the tribe that you have cultivated by working on yourself, cultivating that same level, a reflection of who you are. You start to employ these people into your business. Or on the family level, you would have relatives come and help you. You will have business partners. You will begin using your skill set to edify those of your tribe, to keep the vision strong, to amplify your wisdom and allow the wisdom of those around you within your tribe to amplify you, to edify you, to feed you because the mother needs feeding. If you take, and never give, you're not going to have no life. You have to protect your creations. You have to also, again, it goes back to self-care, self-nurturing. Feed into yourself. And only allow those who can feed back into you on the same levels of different areas that they are contributing and putting out in. Whatever you put out, you're supposed to get back. Make sure you get back. And then what you have is the banshee. Sometimes situations, people, and things are only meant to be in your life for a certain season. And you learn to love again and again and again. You learn to forgive and love again. And you keep going. And each time things didn't work out, it takes you back to the same thing here. You build from the rubble and build that new layer of yourself, that portion of yourself, that dimension of yourself. You build those areas and you continue to do that in every aspect of your life. You rebuild again. And you continue working on yourself, making yourself whole. You take the nugget that you learned in the grief and in the pain, and you begin to build something better. This helps you to nurture that rich spirit of yourself You become wise. You become abundant in every area of your life. Rich in spirit. Abundant in wisdom. Abundant in love. Abundant in your pentacles. Because as above, so below. So if you already see yourself a certain way as the abundance, as rich in heart, then by default, because you're already embodying that, you attract what it is that you are. So the overall message, though, here's the moral of the story, basically, in all of the words. Look how far you have come. Look at all the experiences you've had in your life. What did you learn? How did you learn? What did you learn? See how far you've come. How have you changed? Recognizing those different patterns helps you to change. Take the pain and use that to guide you to where you're supposed to go. So if something is killing you, then that's a level of detachment. So if it's draining the life out of you, then you have to create a level of detachment. That could be in relationships. You could be with somebody who is extremely toxic, narcissistic, or whatever. And because they have not healed and have not done the work, sometimes you have to do the hard thing and start cutting. You have to cut them off. Because you love you more. You love you enough that you're not going to allow yourself to just be depleted. You allow yourself to think, yes, I'm going to live. You choose yourself. It's almost like having survivor's remorse. You go through a tragic accident, loved one that was with you passes away, doesn't make it through. And it's survivor's remorse. Not being able to take that person with you or them to be able to live with you, continue living in the land of the living. You have to mourn that loss. But use that as a way. That's like when parents, like say for example, a parent has, something tragic happens to, a child, something horribly tragic happens wrong to them. And now they make it their life calling to help any, say for example, if a kid, if a kid is going through depression and maybe getting bullied in school or something like that. And, then they end up, taking themselves out of here, and going to the upper room. So a parent just lost their child. So now in order for them to cope, what they do with that pain, they take that pain, alchemize that. How can they use their experience to protect other children that are coming up, that are going, how to protect other families, how to alchemize the networks around these children to recognize these certain behaviors and certain signs so that they can save their children. You save the next one through your pain and your experiences. You save the next one. You save the next life. Sometimes the little things that you don't think of nothing can be something that will change somebody's life forever. Forever. The little things that you say. It could be a little word of encouragement or something that you're doing. They see you doing and that's, moving through a certain situation, not understanding how you're getting through it and the wisdom that you may have, could really make or break a person at that moment. You never know the impact of your words, the impact of your actions. It's like, again, you become the living epistle and the unknowing, the reluctant teacher. For myself, though, I wasn't really all about this, I don't like to do the braggadocious thing at all. I'm really low key. I don't really care for all of that showboaty crap. I don't, But it's like when you are supposed to be in your calling, there's situations that will continue to happen and come up until you go ahead and pick up the mantle and do what you're supposed to do. Okay, it's like you're being pushed in this direction whether you want it or not. And it's funny how God got a way of when you're telling you, hey, go ahead, but I don't told you what to do. I told you. I don't told you. Come on. Oh, so you gonna procrastinate? Okay. Okay, we about to make it detrimental for you because you ain't got you ain't got no choice but to. Okay, you gonna keep playing? Okay. You will begin to be in situations where. Oh, y'all, let me put my light back on. Everything's trying to shut down and malfunction at the last minute. Oh my God. My camera almost fell. Oh. And let there be light. And there was light. All right, so where was I, y'all? Oh, I forgot where I was at. Oh, yeah, but these different situations, they will catalyze you and push you into your calling, whether you like it or not. And on top of that, all those different things, those hidden talents, what's already in you, is basically like having ancestors within you. And they're trying to say, hey, come on, give me the mic. Give me the mic. This is my area. I know, I got this. Okay. Every daggone ancestor, those different parts of yourself, is already fighting to get up on the daggone podium. Okay? Those are all those different versions of you, who you truly are, which came out of the chaos. It came because of the chaos. Why do y'all think though too, when I'm talking about the MK Ultra program as well? The reason they do the MK Ultra program, it does one or two things to individuals. Either they accept the program, and the ones that are the most resilient are some of the most creative. I would call them the shining ones. The shining ones. What it does to them, when their will to live is very great, they begin to have, they split off in those different personalities, split off in those different, into those different ways of being, but they're being pushed to be. Those different aspects are, but that's why when we talk about narcissistic abuse, just violence and abuse in any form or system, it's about basically suppressing that individual, the entirety of that individual, but only highlighting that one aspect, highlighting this aspect, that aspect. But then they call it split personalities. You have people that are that are operating behind these masks. When we talk about narcissists, this is the equivalent of what that is. They're operating behind these masks that they're allowed to be, not being allowed to alchemize who they truly are fully, and they become creative and survival. So when you're looking at the breakdown of these narcissists and so forth, what you have is a broken down personality, a broken down person, those different aspects that are shattered, broken. Hold on, y'all. Things be trying to go out on me. Jesus. Hold on, y'all. Let me try to get through this video. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Oh, hey. I gotta hurry. My daggone camera about to die. My phone about to die. But what that does, it can create a Michael Jackson type personality, where you have them encapsulated in a personality as a child forever, in a mindset. But you get all these different the pain and the pressure creates and forces them to pour all of themselves, become masters in their creativity for all of the energy that has been suppressed, and bringing forth who they truly are, not being able to operate in a full being. It forces them to become creative and resourceful, and they're genius in a way. You will have, and those are the people that are out here in the media that are being puppeted for that reason alone. You will have the people at the top, I guess the dark forces of this world or whatever, that will take the shining ones and use those gifts. But a person that is in control of their mind and their own faculties, who is determined to do the hard work, cannot be controlled, cannot be used, and also is very dangerous. We get to the conclusion, we get to the topic of the TIs and so forth out here. They become dangerous because they cannot be controlled. They see the system. They see what's going on. These are often the people that are the truth tellers. When you alchemize that pain, everything that was meant to break you, and they see that they can't take you down, you're a truth teller. They want to take you down. They see that magic that is you. And they need to make sure that any threat, again, I'm talking about the powers of this world, these evil forces of this world, they need you to be in fear. But when you have no problem with living in the darkness, staying in the darkness, alchemizing in the darkness, there ain't nothing they can do with that. When you've gotten the hidden knowledge, when you're willing to go and look at the things that they don't want you to look at, you got a lot of people that's out here being Bible thumpers and, oh no, terrible this and blah, blah, blah. Oh, religions are bad. Oh, don't look at this. But the very things that they tell you to don't look at, those are the different things that they have basically, let's talk about it like this. Let's talk about the Native American culture here in the United States. A lot of the belief systems that the Native Americans held, guess what? They basically took the structures and wisdom of those beliefs, then told those people that they could not believe those. They had to believe in Christianity, try to wipe their identity while stealing it from them. Basically did a destiny swap. For whatever nation that was conquered, and whoever the victor is, they tell their story, which is a bunch of lies to erase your history. And when you go back within yourself and you recover your own history, you know who you are, they can't control you. And when you have a whole world, a tribe of people that cannot be controlled, who is connected to the Most High God, who know who they are, who are authentic, who are using their spiritual gifts to unite and heal. So we are talking and dealing with real people, not Decepticons, people hiding behind masks, people who are basically given up, become fractured, and can now be used by the system. The ones at least who survive usually become the handlers, or they usually become the dangly toy they like to throw out in the media. Hey y'all, look at how glamorous and great this is. Let's go down the path of destruction. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, yeah, da 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 da. Which is, I mean, I'm not really saying that they get to each his own. I'm only judging nobody for real. But they're trying to promote destruction in every level that they can. So that like people self-destruct. They want you to self-destruct mentally. This is basically like a covert operation. In all other words, they moving stealthily. That's what it is. But when you exercise your magic, they can't take your magic from you. They will try to take you out. Okay? That's how you become dangerous. But when you amplify your voice, you share that, you become even very lethal. Because now, not only is there one of you, there's 2, 3, 4, 5. What? Who? They're not acquiescing to the fear. They're not prescribing to the fear. They have no problem in staying in the shadow, in the darkness. They've grown out. How did they do that? We didn't see how that happened. A series of epiphanies. So to end this right here, first off, honor your goals. Examine your current opportunities. It's time to redirect to make decisions that honor your goals rather than your short-term gratification. So it goes back to having self-discipline. You will have you can do self-gratification, whatever you want to call it, short-term gratification, but is that going to get to you to where you need to go in the long run? Those also open up spaces for distractions, toxicity, procrastination, reasons to not do and confront your fear, confront what you're supposed to be doing. Situations that lead up to you being forced, catalyzing you to get your ass up. Come on. Come on. Damn. I got to. Yes. allowing your magic to be seen, the wisdom that you possess, the bullhorn, shining that light. Says the current opportunities presented to you need careful examination. Consider at this moment how your current daily activities feed into your long-term visions. Ask yourself now if they will help you or hold you back from your ultimate dreams and goals. So are those distractions, those toxic, environments and people around you? Feel good at the moment. They gonna help you for real in the long term? Or is that an excuse though to run away from, your calling? Doing hard work. 701, angelic calling. You are being protected. Your angels see the struggle you are undergoing presently, and they want you to feel their loving presence supporting you. Call upon them to show themselves to you in signs and messages today, and in the love and compassion of those around you. Ask them to show you their love now, and believe it when you see it. So this goes back to having the correct relationships around you, having relationships around you that reflect your higher path, your higher goal, your higher self, that aligns with who you truly are. When you are really accepting who you, being authentic to yourself, true to yourself, you're only going to be allowing those certain types of relationships though. And those different tribes, when you're attracting your tribe, you will have people that are pivotal and very important in your tribe as well. And sometimes in order to have a strong leader, it's the whole tribe behind them that makes them strong and makes them powerful. It's the team that's behind you. Unconditional love. Family is everything. Not everyone who loves you is perfect, but the unconditional love they give you is. Your angels want you to focus on the unconditional loving bonds of family. If family is something you don't have, then you want to create it. Whoever you take it for granted that you can reconnect to you. Reach out to family members or cherished friends on the phone. Send them a card or pay them a visit. So you're going to start reaching out to people who are basically, as you are becoming more of yourself and you're attracting those types of people around you, remember to have unconditional love for yourself, forgive yourself, and also be willing to forgive others. Okay? Have unconditional love for them. Pour into them just as much as they pour into you. Give and take. And if you give and take and so forth, what that does is create a more unified life for yourself, a unified structure for yourself, a legacy where you are, again, it's like basically all the seeds that you put into other people, cultivated in others, you're watching the seeds of your wisdom bloom forth. And you're watching now those that you have planted those seeds in take off. Do they thing. That is your legacy. That came from you, baby. It's like basically the matriarch, whether you're a matriarch system, patriarch system, whatever your system is, what you build, what you plant, you're still using that feminine energy, that creative aspect of yourself. But then you're also taking that masculine aspect of yourself and protecting that, by, again, allowing only those people, situations, and removing distraction, toxicity about your life, recognizing the pattern to protect that baby, to protect those seeds to grow, to protect the kingdom. And then with you doing that, you teach them to protect the kingdom, to nurture those seeds to life, to create and protect that legacy, and you live forever on. All right, that's all I got for y'all. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.